I have no doubt that most of us want to believe we are good people. We like to think that we would never hurt anyone intentionally or do anything to upset the balance of the world. But here's the thing, this is not the way the world actually works. This is just an unrealistic view of life that we often wish was true, but it isn't. The truth is far more nuanced than that. As human beings, we all do good and bad things every single day, and we can never truly know the consequences of our actions. Even the smallest things we do can end up hurting someone in ways we could never even imagine. And even the worst things we do might end up benefiting someone in some way, somewhere down the line. For example, a politician who has done terrible things for their own personal gain may end up inadvertently starting a chain of events that leads to positive change in the long run. When we cling to this idea that we are good people, we are essentially ignoring reality. Instead, what we should be doing is striving to be good at being human. That means understanding both the good and the bad sides of human nature and learning how to use them to our advantage. That's why, if you ever want to improve your odds in this world, you have to stop trying to be a good person and start trying to be good at being a person. And this is the first lesson from today's video, which is going to be about 3 lessons from Niccolò di Niccoli, also known simply as Machiavelli. Lesson number 2, when you are weak, you must learn to adapt. Machiavelli was an Italian Renaissance philosopher and writer who is best known for his book The Prince, which is considered to be one of the most important works in political science. He was born in Florence, Italy in 1469, and he died there in 1527. Machiavelli was a civil servant for most of his life, and he held various positions in the government, including secretary to the Florentine Republic's second chancery and a member of the Council of 500. During his time in office, he was responsible for several important pieces of legislation, including a law that reformed the Florentine currency system. However, he fell out of favor with the Medici family, who were the rulers of Florence at the time. And in 1512 he was exiled from the city. After his exile he wrote The Prince, which was dedicated to the Medici ruler Lorenzo de' Medici. It was published in 1532, 2 years after his death. In the book, he outlines his theory of how to acquire and maintain political power. According to Machiavelli, a prince must be willing to do whatever it takes to keep control, even if that means resorting to violence or deception. He believed that a prince should be feared more than loved, and that it was better to be cruel than weak. These views were radical at the time, and they shocked many people who read the book. Despite its controversial content, The Prince has become one of the most important works in political science. It has been read and studied by countless powerful people throughout history, including kings, queens, presidents, and CEOs. Some of the most famous quotes from the book include, "It is better to be feared than loved, but it is impossible to be both, and the ends justify the means." Now, the reason why we are discussing Machiavelli today is because although he lived over 500 years ago, his lessons are still extremely relevant. If you take a look at the world around you, you will see that it is full of people who are trying to acquire and maintain power. Whether we like it or not, power is everywhere. And if you want to succeed in this world, you need to understand how it works. One of the most important lessons Machiavelli teaches us is that when we are weak, we must learn to adapt. In order to survive, this is something we all know deep down, but it's not always easy to put into practice. As human beings, we all like to think of ourselves as being strong and powerful. We like to believe that we can overcome any obstacle and achieve anything we set our minds to, but the truth is that sometimes we are simply too weak to fight. Sometimes the best thing we can do is to lie down and wait for the storm to pass. There are so many times in my own life where I have tried to hold on to something or someone when I knew deep down I had no chance. And every time I did that, I ended up making things worse. Trying to hold on to something that was never meant to be only causes more pain and suffering. There are certain things that are simply out of our control, and no matter how hard we try, we will never be able to change them. In those situations, the best thing we can do is to accept the reality and move on. Sometimes that means letting go of someone or something that we love, but that is the only way to protect ourselves from further pain. So remember, brothers, when you are weak, you must learn to adapt. Don't try to hold on to something that is never meant to be. Let go and move on. That is the only way to protect yourself from further pain and suffering. Lesson number 3. Everything is a battlefield. Machiavelli was a firm believer in realism, and he believed that we should not be naive about the world we live in. In fact, he said that we should be prepared for anything. This is why he is known as the father of political realism. In his book, The Prince, he writes, "If it is advantageous to you, there is no reason why you should not adopt the role of a lion, since it is most advantageous to you and to others that you should be strong and not be considered weak. However, since we cannot be both strong and weak at the same time, you must choose one or the other according to the circumstances." Here, Machiavelli is telling us that we need to be aware of the different roles we play in society, and we need to know how to play them correctly. For example, sometimes it is in our best interest to be weak. This could be when we are dealing with someone who is stronger than us, and we don't want to make them feel threatened. In those situations, it is better to be seen as weak prey rather than strong competition. This is why I'm always telling you guys to be humble. When you walk around with your chest puffed out, believing that you are invincible, you make everyone around you feel uncomfortable and they will want to bring you down. But if you walk around with your head held low, they won't see you as a threat and they will leave you alone. So remember, brothers, everything is a battlefield. If you want to survive, you need to be aware of your surroundings and know how to play the game. Brothers, these are the 3 lessons from Niccolò di Niccoli that I want to share with you today. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to let me know by showing your support. I am always looking for ways to improve my videos and make them more valuable for you guys. So if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, remember that life is a war. Choose to be a warrior.